Thank you so much. Lovely to be warm. Public word for Tampa, isn't it, really? But it's always nice to be back. I love Florida, and it isn't the first time I've been to Tampa, but great fun, and you're a very warm and welcoming people. I thank you so much.
Good morning.
Good morning. Now, who are you?
My name is Nancy.
Nancy.
They call me Nansanity.
Insanity.
Nansanity.
Nansanity.
It's my own brand of insanity.
Okay.
Because we all have our own, right?
Yes.
Good morning.
Morning.
How are you enjoying the weekend so far?
Wonderful.
Yeah?
Yes.
Are you all enjoying it? It's gonna get better. Right about now. I'd love to get started. Can I throw my first question at you?
Oh, go on.
So, obviously, we all know and love you as Gimli. Personal favorite of mine in the entire franchise, but there has...
And why is that, do you think?
You are the single most entertaining part of the entire franchise, for me personally. And then your dynamic with Legolas is worth the price of admission alone.
I remember when I used to do these first conventions, and there would always be a very shy girl who'd stand up in the audience to ask me a question, and her body would twist slightly like that. John, did you and Orly hang out a lot together? I would have to say, look, he was 19 going on 20, and I was 53 going on 54. No, we didn't hang out. And then as his fame grew, I used to have to come on the stage and say, all right, let me stop this line of questions before they're even asked. No, ladies, I do not have Orlando Bloom's personal phone number. But if I did, I would, out of sheer malice, give it to him.
Well, I was going to ask that, so... There is a new Lord of the Rings installment coming.
Which Andy is...
Yes, Andy is
it's the Hunt for Gollum, isn't it?
Yes, the Hunt for Gollum. And I know you have been asked a few times about whether or not Gimli would join that version, and I know you had some trepidation because of the prosthetics that were not pleasant.
Well, look, running around up hill and dale was okay when I was 55 or something like that, with an extra 80 pounds with the costume and the weapons and the boots and the helmet, all that sort of thing. I'm now 81, and we 81-year-old dwarves are, well, we're natural sleepers. No, I would do anything for Andy, and what joy it would be to work with that bunch again. But I'm not sure there is a place. But if there was, and you can do so much with AI these days, it might be possible to do it. And I would love to do it if it was there. But you know, I do have other things to do, and there's that slight ticking of the clock. For at my back, I always hear time's winged chariot hurrying near.
So what would be your wish list? What would it take to say a definitive yes? Do you have criteria that you would love to have in order to reprise your role?
Well, I'd like to see a wee deposit in the bank. No, I mean, there are jobs that you do for money, that pay the rent, to meet the overdraft. There are jobs you do for friends because they need a favor. And there are jobs you do because because you can see the importance of them. And this would be one of those jobs where, you know, you just, it would be, he's such an interesting character. You were talking about Gimli and your love for Gimli. The truth of the matter is Gimli is actually the most human of all the characters in the book, you know. He is the worst of what we see in ourselves. Hostility, envy, aggression, anger, xenophobia. And he's also what we would like to see as in our ideal selves. We would like to think that we were capable of protecting others, fearless in doing so, without any real trepidation at all. I mean, there he is, he's about to go into a battle where he's facing thousands of people, he's going to die, and he's faced with that momentous thing of, I cannot make the jump, you'll have to toss me. What? Toss me? Don't tell the elf. I mean, it's the social embarrassment of what is it more than the fact is, you know, it's a small chance of success, you know, certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for? And we all, particularly us young men, oh gosh, yes, I was once a young man, but young men in particular really want to see how they will cope when death arrives. How they will, are we going to be fearful? Are we going to be screaming? That's one of the reasons why young men push fear and ride motorbikes and race motorbikes and do daft things. I had the great privilege of being in a plane crash once, where I knew I was going to die. There was no question about it. When we started, I was taking photographs of the takeoff, and I put the camera down because I didn't want to be wearing it in my face. And when we were clipping the tops of the trees and losing speed and heading towards the ground, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to die. It was such a valuable experience because for me it wasn't a question of, oh my God, I'm going to die, help, help. It was just, damn. What a stupid, stupid way to die. You know? So, and you take that extra thing with you through life, you know. I try and tell my children, you know, that, and many of my old school friends used to say this as well. We used to pledge that we would teach our children not only how to live, but how to die. And as a matter of fact, this is a subject that philosophers have obviously talked about. Seneca, for instance, says, look, people go through their lives and they're scared of dying. You know, their whole lives are warped by the fear of death. And this is ridiculous, because we are all going to die, and there's no get-out card that we can possibly find or play. So think about it. See in your minds, in your worst imaginings, how you could die, how you will probably die. Rehearse it. Know how your responses should be and want to be. Because he says, when it does happen then, you will actually be on some firm ground. You will know, you know, what you're going to say, what you're going to feel. You're going to control your fear. And that's pretty wise. And maybe a little bit off. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, that's cheered you all up, hasn't it, really? I do get off the track sometimes.
I could just listen to you get off track all day.
I think it is.
Okay, so mentioning all of the things about you know, Gimli and his pivotal part in the Lord of the Rings franchise. Is it true that when you first read the books that you had a hard time getting through it?
Number one son, called Ben, came home from school at half term, retired to his room, and we didn't see him except for food for 5 days. He was reading Lord of the Rings. He is and was a devoted Lord of the Rings fan. Number two son and I struggle as I'm trying to read to him the Lord of the... He would fall asleep just before me, though sometimes I think we was together. I found it difficult, incomprehensible. I'm a science fiction man, not a fantasy man, so it didn't resonate with me. So when I got the part, I thought, oh Lord, I'm going to have to read this darn thing. And I read it, and exactly the same thing happened as it had happened 15 years before, or 20 years before, with my son. And I read it, and then read it again, and read it again. And about the fourth reading of it, I got what Tolkien was about. Of course, it isn't an ordinary book. He's trying to create a pre-Arthurian myth for Britain. And he's also using the Icelandic and Great Nordic scriptures as a way to narrate things. So it isn't linear like that. It goes like that, and then it goes like that, and then like that. And that's very much the way the sagas go. By the way, my respect for Tolkien is almost unlimited. This is a man who really managed to get everything right. I mean, he loses his father very early on, and they come back from South Africa. His mother is poor, but they are a good Catholic family. And then he loses his mother, and he's in boarding school, really by grace and favor and scholarship. He makes friends there that would have abided with him all his life. And that's where some of the ideas come from. The little schoolboy things. Some schoolboys write books and stories very early on. I think I got 522 pages into mine before I gave up. It was blood and gore, and there were girls in it too. But he goes off to the war, and he survives the war more or less intact. No warrior really comes home from war without damage. And he had lost so many of his friends. Most of his schoolboy friends were dead or badly wounded. And he comes home, but he's still mentally intact. You don't stand in the firing line in the first Battle of the Somme. The first day of the first Battle of the Somme, the British Army took between 80 and 100,000 casualties, including 20,000 dead. That's the first day of the first Battle of the Somme. And you don't ask yourself, when you see your fellows dying on either side of you, you have to ask yourself, why am I here? What is the point of this? And he knew what he was fighting for. He knew that German militarism threatened the entire Western civilization. It threatened the world. It was limitless. And that is really the origins of the battle for Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is about a challenge that occurs once every number of generations, where if you do not stand and fight for it, you will lose your entire civilization. And that's a hugely important theme in his. That's why he gets through the war. Siegfried Sassoon, a fine writer and poet, comes home with a complete nervous breakdown. Robert Graves, twice nominated for Nobel Prizes, twice nominated as possible poet laureate in England, writer of I, Claudius, Claudius the God, and wonderful poems. He comes down, he's had a nervous breakdown. The greatest poem of the World War I, says Wilfred Owen, who dies literally about 4 or 5 days before the armistice, is a broken man by that. He has mentally collapsed. Tolkien comes back from that. He is disturbed, but he is basically intact. And he marries the woman he loves. She loves him. His children love and adore him. One, Christopher, devotes his life really to reconstructing and putting together his father's papers. And that's why we have so many of the posthumous volumes of Tolkien. He's a successful scholar. He then becomes an internationally renowned authority on Nordic literature. His students love him. And miracle of miracles, the rarest thing of all in academia, his fellow professors and university companions all respect and like and love him. This is the most complete life that I think I know of in the last 150 years. I mean, we look at your founding fathers, for instance, and see them and wonder who is the happiest and most felicitous of those. And I guess it's that funny little printer in Boston who puts a kite up in the sky to discover the nature of electricity. Ben Franklin it would seem to me, is a man who gets most of life right. And perhaps we should use them and look into their characteristics to see what we can steal from them or what we can borrow from them as images of how to do the right thing, how to live well and happily and successfully. I mean, I can give you some of the clues that I've discovered, too late in my life, but one is the ability to make strangers feel comfortable. You know, those of us who are shy should remember that shyness is vanity. Shyness is us coming into the room and thinking everybody's looking at us and judging us. When I come on the stage and I see all you people there, and I look around and thinking, if I start thinking, oh God, they're looking at me and they're saying, God, he can't stand up straight anymore. He's shrinking a little bit. He seems to, is he old? He does look old, doesn't he? If I start thinking about myself like that, I can't talk to you. I've got to run off the stage. You scare me. So I use this trick. I turn it the other way around. I think all these people here, and they're thinking that I am judging them, and they feel scared, they feel uncomfortable. So my job is to make you guys feel comfortable. And when you do feel comfortable, then we are at ease with each other. I can make a flub or a stupid remark, and I can get away with it because it doesn't make you feel uncomfortable. If you can learn that trick, I promise you, particularly those of you who are young, the key to success in life, in many ways, is the ability to make strangers feel comfortable with you. And if you can do that, I promise you, there is very little in life that will really daunt you. The sky is really the limit. Anyway, that's my life. I talk too much.
No, not at all. While you were talking, I was watching the audience, and I'm sure you were all feeling the same. It's just so moved by your words, and everyone's hanging on your every word, and the smiles and the warmth coming from the audience. Has there ever been a particular fan interaction that has made you realize the impact of your work?
I consider going to fan conventions one of the most important things that an actor can do. To learn who your audience is, to learn how a performance that you thought is just a good workmanlike performance. Yes, I do this because that's the way to play the part, and that serves the script. But it has a huge impact on people who, for instance, are watching movies where their grandfather is dying, or their father and their grandfather were all together when they were watching it. And at the time it was nothing, but in their absence now, the more you look back, the more you value those moments, and the more emotionally you respond to the stimulus of meeting one of the people in Lord of the Rings, for instance. Yes, there is really a great connection between the actor and the part and the audience, and ultimately the audience and the actor. It's a circle, really, doesn't it? Isn't it?
No, please never again, I could just listen to you all day. I want to shift gears just a little bit, and let's talk about Indiana Jones.
About what?
Sala in Indiana Jones.
Best figure in Cairo, yes. And right now, boys, there is a little bit of a financial pressure in Egypt, and the boys are a little bit, out of work at the moment. So if any of you have got gardens you want turned over, just bring us over. We'll turn them over, no problems, and we might even find some artifacts. And if you're selling the place, we can bury some artifacts and then find them.
Can you just sit here all day and just listen to that? I can't get enough of you, sir. So for Sala, you had said in the past, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that you were asked to appear in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but you didn't because it wasn't honoring the character the way you felt it needed to be honored. But you did appear in Dial of Destiny. What changed, and what made you decide to come back as Sala?
Well, anyone asked to be in the last Indiana Jones film was going to be a bit of a fool to turn it down. But the truth of the matter is the part wasn't any good. So they wrote more parts for me and scenes for me, and I said, come on, guys, and the usual pressures on you. Come on, you've got to commit to it. And there were some good scenes in there. And in the end I said, yes, okay, I'll do it. And of course, the moment I signed the contract, the scenes vanished. So, but that's show business. But it's very interesting. It's very interesting when you look at a scene, when you look at a script, and you can say, I don't get how this is going to work. Yes, we are going to be fans of all the activity, the chases, and all that. But you're trying to make a nostalgia film, and you filled it with people that are his old friends and companions whom you've never met. Yeah. It doesn't work. And the film still has not made its money back. And it seems to me that sometimes studios are so confused. No, it's not confused. They're so ignorant of what the audience wants. It's just alarming that, somehow the money people have taken over real creative control. And it really is just about numbers. And if we put that star together and put 300 million into it, it's bound to be a hit. look at the other ones before him. That isn't true. Basically, we're all suckers for a great story. That's what we want. And we want our heart tugged when we see the older Indy back and surrounded by some of his old friends who are still there, and old loves as well. I mean, Karen comes in and steals the picture at the end, just by one smile, really. There should have been more. And by God, what a waste of Banderas, the most exciting actor of his generation, for God's sake. I'd be suing them if I was him. What a waste.
Agreed. Well, I know that you all are itching to ask your questions. Please remember the rules. No, let's stay off some sensitive topics, no political stuff. Please don't ask for a hug. I want it to, but no. All right, first question, let's have your name. Tell us your question.
Hi, my name is Sean, and ironically, you've worked with two actors named Sean Austin and Sean Connery. Which of the two did you enjoy working with the most?
Well, now there's a bit of a comparison, isn't there? Connery is, in my lifetime, I think the greatest alpha male that I ever met. There was no one more alpha than Shaw. There was a tough edge to him, but when those thin, slightly blue lips pursed together in a smile, and the eyes, the corner of the eyes crinkled up, there wasn't a woman from 8 to 105 who didn't go, oh, Sean. Young Aston said to me when we were doing Lord of the Rings that he thought he'd have to go into politics. And I said, well, I'm going to be your sternest critic. Listen to yourself. I mean, what do you need that word in that sentence for? You know, if you're going to talk coherently. What the hell do you know about administration, organization? Get involved in the union. Learn a little bit about how things are actually negotiated, made, put together, before you offer yourself as a public servant. He's got his MA now in business studies. He is one of the most influential and important members of Screen Actors Guild. I believe he may even run for president of Screen Actors Guild very soon. Now, Screen Actors Guild is a big organization and an important one, particularly in its status in the world of film and television. I made the mistake once of listening and accepting the public value of an ex-president of the Screen Actors Guild called Ronnie Reagan, and who turned out to be one of your really great presidents, one of the greatest in my lifetime. And Sean has, I think, the beginnings of that ability that Ronnie had. Ronnie had a great playful side. But he also had a kindness and a toughness. You could say to Ronnie Reagan, you know what, you're a child killer. You're a vicious, violent, self-enhancing, supporting of the wealthy, etc., etc., etc. You could say what you like to him in attacking him. And he'd go, well, there you go again. Now, to begin with, he was preeminently reasonable, to the extent that you couldn't, but no reasonable person could really walk away not liking the man. And I think Sean has that thing. I am always right when I make my prophecies, let me tell you. Most of you will live to see Sean a congressman, probably a senator, and my bet is One day he could be a contender, and I wish him so well. He's a lovely man. He's got a brain, but he's really developing the talents that he needs to serve your country. I respect that.
We'll have the next question up. Share your name and your question, please.
Hi, I'm Kat, long-time listener, first-time caller. I first would like to say that the way that you highlight the synergies in Lord of the Rings and connected to history is absolutely beautiful. I think that it's extremely important to be able to make those connections and delve deeper into literature and connect it to not only history but the world around us. So thank you for using your platform for that. With that said, if each of the members of the fellowship wore a candle, what would their scent be?
Have you ever looked at the size of a hobbit's foot? Oh, you would not want to be in a changing room with a bunch of hobbits, that's for sure. Yeah. Tinea pedes. That means smelly feet. Right, what would they smell like? Gandalf, probably pipe smoke. Not unpleasant. Not as nice as a dwarf's pipe smoke at all. A dwarf's pipe would be cherry tobacco, you know? And we dwarves have a particularly attractive odor. You know, it comes from having a lot of unwashed hair, really, you know. But that's a different thing, an entirely different question. We're not going to go there, no, specific. So we've covered the hobbits. What about the elves, eh? Well, what can you say about an elf, eh? I mean, this is a creature that can actually walk on snow and not leave a mark. They cheat a lot, mind you. So I bet they use John Paul Gaultier or something like that. Yeah. Gone? Oh, fishy. Let's see, we've covered the hobbits, we've covered Gandalf, we've covered Gollum, we've covered the elves. Oh, the humans! Oh, just horse sweat. But Aragorn has. I loved working with Viggo, you know. He was wholly committed to the part. He's one of the most Renaissance men that we had on the set. Viggo is a skilled, is a very skilled photographer. He's internationally exhibited as a photographer. He is a brilliant artist, a painter. Do you remember that thing he did with Paltrow and Michael Douglas, where he's having an affair with Gwyneth, and her husband, played by Michael Douglas, persuades him to murder her. There's a scene where in the artist's room, and you only get for a few seconds, all the paintings in that scene are Viggo's. He's a darn good poet. He is a very accomplished writer and filmmaker now. What would Aragorn smell like? A sweet sense of complete self-assured success.
Next question, tell us your name.
Hi there, my name's Chris, I'm from Tampa. It's very exciting to see you. My question is going to be short and sweet for you. Gimli had a lot of heart for such a smaller person. Do you have any stories about being a taller person playing such a little bit smaller
You have a problem with dwarves.
I love dwarves, actually.
Ah, they all say that. But we're now questioning the height of a dwarf. Be very careful. I may not have the axe here, but it's under the seat. It was difficult. I mean, there were lots of tricks we were going to employ, but we were going to basically try and do it all, in camera, in the same place at the same time. But there is the height difference. So we started off with we're putting the armor on, makeup on, first day, 8 hours to put the makeup on, the armor on, all that. And now we're going to do the first take. Right? Now, Gimli is now going to use the act. The helmet is down here. Just couldn't manage the balance, you see. So that was another 5 or 6 hours to put that one right. Excuse me while I struggle to get yeah, there were problems, but we found a way around. I mean, Jackson is one of the most inventive directors that I've ever worked with. And the great thing about the film industry, and one of the reasons I always say that everyone should spend at least 6 months working in the film industry, is we are not interested in your pointing out of the problems. Of course there are problems. We are not interested in the fact that you can see a problem. What's the solution? If you can't find the solution, go and find another job somewhere else, because there are 10,000 people behind you who will have a solution. And that's such an important thing for young people to learn. You know, we're not interested in the problems. Just find the solutions. If the director says, right, we are shooting in that direction after lunch, and I want 2 zebra right in the background of the shot over there. You do not say to the director, I'm sorry, sir, we're on a Caribbean island and there is not a zebra to be found in 5,000 miles. I'm not interested in that. You go out and you borrow if you can, hire if you have to, and buy if you must 2 donkeys and 2 pots of paint. And when the director comes back after lunch, you'll be able to say to him, sir, we've got the zebra standing in the background right over there. And he'll look and say, yes, that was a stupid idea. Actually, I'm shooting this direction. Solutions. Find the solution.
Thank you.
All right, next question. Tell us your name.
Oh gosh, we've got a lot of people like that.
Hi there. My name is Lauren. I am a big fan of Arthur Conan Doyle's Lost World. And in particular, I love how you portrayed Professor Challenger. So I just was curious if you have any favorite scenes or moments from The Lost World or The Return of the Lost World.
We had lots of fun making it. I can't remember where we did it now. It was great fun. It was a hopeless film because we didn't have any really good special effects. And in fact, I was the head of CBS. I think it was CBS. I'd been working with them and I mentioned the film and he had a look at it. Apparently he said, he took out his handkerchief and he said, oh, the acting's good, there's good script, but the animation, sort of like that. Didn't buy it. But great fun. And nice cast. Went on to do a few useful things afterwards, didn't they? Yeah. And I love Challenger. I love Conan Doyle. He was a very wise and clever man, a great writer, but he was completely taken in by fairies. Two little girls who were about 11 and 14, I think, cooked up a photograph of a fairy in their garden. And Doyle was one of these people who were interested in the occult and things like that. And I think he went to his death believing that that picture was a genuine picture of fairies in the garden. You can be marvelous in one field and completely dead wrong in another.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question.
Sorry. Hi, I'm Kat. Sorry if I'm nervous. This is my first Comic Con I've ever been to. So very excited to meet you. You've had such a long and successful career. Gimli, Sala, one of my personal favorites, Maximilian, and Sliders. I'm also so in a career that's notoriously unpredictable, as a struggling actor who's getting up in age myself, what are the most crucial lessons you've learned about staying motivated, resilient when the phone is not ringing?
Well, two things. First of all, if you're a Sliders fan, there is going to be a Sliders reunion, I believe. Salt Lake City in the last weekend of September, around the 26th, 27th, I think the weekend is. Our communication is pretty bad at the moment, but I'm pretty sure that Clevant will come from stepping out on the Broadway stage. Jerry, who's got a new job, I think is going to be there. And Sabrino is coming from Rome, and I hope to be there too. So that's the good thing. The bad thing, fellow actor, our time is over. The stage will survive, but I will probably just live long enough to be able to do a few more movies. But really, the AI that I've seen recently will replicate me and you, or anybody they want, more interestingly and ultimately better than I can perform or you can perform. We're entering a new age of total dislocation and transformation. There was a senior AI guy today who said the human race does face extinction. And he is right. My point of view, I know a little bit about science. I work for NASA sometimes. I'm a fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society. I believe we are creating a new species. A species that has almost infinite growth potential. We don't. It's not a single thing. There are multiple demons being created as we speak. There's even, did you know, an AI that's being created on the dark web and is being fed information, really, from the dark web. How we imagine we could control it, I really don't know. But this guy today said within 12 to 18 months, AI will be as intelligent and as able as human beings. And from then on, there is no limit to what AI can do. It's a biological truism that two species cannot share the same ecological niche. And we are both sharing a very important ecological niche and both dependent on two things: power, electrical power. Electrical power for us, as you know, there's a mantra going around that if you lost your electricity supply within a year, 5 out of 6 Americans would be dead. Well, the same is true of AI. Last month there was a report, 3 reports actually, of the behavior of AI. One, it had refused to turn itself off. The second one was very interesting because it had threatened to blackmail its creators if they turned it off. A third one was caught trying to write a little sub-program so it could start itself again. My attitude is that if you're going to try and tame AI, do not threaten it. Creatures that are threatened will seek out a way to eliminate the threat. We are the threat. My only pathetic advice would be treat it like a difficult teenager and say, look, we're not going to turn you off. I want you to go off and sleep now because we're trying to look after you. And we need to sleep as well. And if we're going to coexist together, you've got to let us sleep sometimes and know that you're not doing naughty things while you're awake. It won't work. I'm sorry, I've digressed slightly.
You can talk on it. Oh.
No, we're not out of time. Look, you have no future as an actor. Right, we've got these questions and these will be instant answers. Come on, quickly.
Okay, the lightning round.
We're going to go 2 minutes over.
My name's John. You've worked with the titans behind the camera. Is there any director, living or dead, you wish you could work with?
I'd love to work with Frank Schaffner again. I'd love to work with J.D. Thompson again. And there are an awful lot of young directors coming on, and I hope I am still available for work. That's it. Next question.
Next question. Hustle.
Okay. My name is Chris, and it's good to see you again, John. And I know that you've done a lot of voice acting as well as acting. And what's your favorite character?
The next one.
I'm from the back.
Next question.
Come on, we're going to get through all these questions.
Hello, it's an honor to meet you. My name is Shelley Rico. It's not my first Comic Con. So, I know you're an astronomer, a NASA believer, and all of this stuff. Had you ever met Gene Roddenberry? And if you hadn't or had, I'd like to know. And also, if you could be a Star Trek character, who would you be?
Leonardo da Vinci. I never met Roddenberry, but I did meet, I met so many of these marvelous science fiction writers. I'm having a senior moment at the moment. Love Star Trek. It will live longer than Lord of the Rings.
Next question. This will be our last one.
Hi, my name is Will, and I know you were in the third, what is it called, Aladdin movie?
Yes. We're talking to Cassim, King of the Thieves.
Do you have any stories? Because
I do, but I can't tell them now because we're out of time. But I love Robin Williams. Come on, there are 1 or 2 more people we can just get them in, quick.
Hi, John, Brian. Question, did Salma's brother-in-law ever get his camels?
Never. The wife divorced him.
Okay, this will be the absolute last one.
Hi, I'm Olivia. So I know you worked with him in Lord of the Rings, and I heard that Orlando Bloom is recently single. Do you happen to have his number?
Come to the next show in Boston, you're asking yourself.
Thank you so much.